Hey everybody, it's Vicki here. I learned a lesson. Don't film a few things and then not go ahead and do your video, because you will more than likely lose them when your 1 terabyte hard drive on your computer says it's completely full, and it's because of videos. So I erased all the footage, and of course I was saving some DecoArt. I was selected as a helping artist member several months ago, and of course by the time I got the product in, and then I completely redid my studio and bought cube units to store all my little boxes in. Fast forward, I've had my second order, and they are so generous and their products are awesome. So instead of showing you a shot of all the bottles, I thought I'd show you some color comparisons and some tests I did. First thing, this is the DecoArt spray misters, and they are completely waterproof when they dry. So these are an acrylic base. I got a little bit up, but not much. And I also used some of their white gesso and some of their black gesso to see what those colors would do. And this is their white. I may not have had it shaken enough, but it still makes a really nice foggy look. The green and yellow show up fairly well, the red fairly well. So depending on the look you want, these can work quite well on black. So on this page, I had to go back because I've forgotten what I've done. This page I splashed the misters here, and then of course went over the color swatches, so they got overspray and got contaminated a little bit on my book. But I did that, and then down here I did some little diluting with water. The next thing I did was sprayed some golden. I don't have too many of the golden. They are, again, acrylic, so they're going to dry water fast. About the same as the DecoArt in terms of what lifts up. Very, very similar. The colors are very similar, and price is about the only difference. Goldens are a little bit higher, so I highly recommend the DecoArt. You can't compare either of these, the DecoArt or the golden, with dilution sprays, because the chemical makeup of these is acrylic, which dries permanent, and the chemical makeup of dilutions is water-based, more like watercolor, and they will continue to move just like watercolor will if you go back and add water. So to avoid that, then you can use a fixative or a coat of matte medium or something like that, or a spray of a real thin down matte medium or varnish to make your dilutions water-based sprayers permanent. Here I did a color comparison of two colors that have the same names. Of course, y'all know that doesn't mean anything. Doggone it. And I can't get that color. It may show up better in the real film. This is phthalo green and the golden and the DecoArt, and they virtually are identical. Here is a gold. No, I don't know what that is. It looks like Titan Buff, but the golden and the Deco. And again, very similar in colors. The golden might be just a hair more shiny. So those, I lied, this is the media fluids. So I tested two colors here on the medium fluids, which golden's is fluid acrylic and DecoArt is media fluid. And then golden has the high flow acrylic, which is totally different. DecoArt doesn't have anything in high flow. This is the DecoArt Media Fluid color line. and it is beautiful. I've got all the colors. I've got them swatched out here. The ones that should be transparent are transparent. The ones that should be opaque are opaque. The pigments are listed. The light fastness is listed on the bottles, so you know exactly what you're going to get. Now, when you're dealing with artist quality paints and pigments, the names of the pigment will reflect the single pigment that's in this mixture. And in this case, this is quinacridone violet. That's the only pigment that should be present in this paint, is quinacridone violet. The same with magenta, the same with permanent magenta, cad red. Now, when you go into a student grade paint or a craft paint, that's when you start seeing your mixed colors. In the oil painting business, we call those admixtures, which means they're mixed at the factory to exacting standards in most cases. And so sky blue may have a little bit of yellow mixed in it with an ultramarine or cobalt to make that factory or that brand's particular color. Now, as crafters, you don't need to know that. As fine artists, if you are going to mix a color, you need to be with a line of colors and artist quality colors that are single pigment mixtures, or not mixtures in this case, but a single pigment. For example, I know what's in quinacridone magenta. Now, if I mix this magenta with, let's say, ultramarine blue down here, I can control to a certain extent the mixture I get. Now, if on the other hand I choose in a craft line sky blue and mix it with a red, say maybe they've named it Christmas red, but you mix those two together and think you're going to get purple, and you're not. And the reason is because I said earlier that sky blue mixture will contain a little bit of yellow. Yellow and, let's see, wait a minute. Yellow and blue are a greenish cast, and mixed with red that you've mixed is going to gray this down a little bit. You follow me? So if you don't know what pigments are in your craft paints, and it's named a name like, oh, seafoam blue or spring green, you're better off to use that spring green with just a, don't try to mix it, that's what I'm trying to say. Use the pigments individually because you don't know what the composition is. Does that make sense? That's good enough. Anyway, that's why the weird names on the artist quality paints, like Diaroline yellow, Hansa yellow, those are pigments. And the names are pretty much consistent across brands of artist grade paint. That's enough about that. Now, their other line is DecoArt Traditions, and this is more their regular body acrylic. You've got your artist names again, so these are for the most part, maybe in every case, going to be a single pigment color. These are really nice. They've got great coverage, even on the ones that are light. They've got sapphire blue, maybe an admixture. It may contain aqua, probably has a blue and a yellow mixture in it. Some of them are admixtures, but a lot of them, for the most part, are single pigment. And it's a beautiful color line, and now I've got almost all of it. They were back ordered on some. This is new this week for me. It's the DecoArt paint markers. And these are labeled for glass, which kind of means they're going to be multi-surface. You can use them on anything. I did them on plain paper, on white gesso, and on black gesso. And the only ones that really showed up on the black gesso are the gold and silver. And you can't see them at all. Maybe you can when it's actual footage. And the white ones showed up. Beautiful, vibrant color. There's not much difference to my eye on the regular paper and the white gesso. Maybe just a hair shinier on the white gesso. I'm picking up some shiny on the black gesso, but not enough to use your marker for that. It'll be interesting to test and see what this does on mixed media when you've got decoupage, Mod Podge, or matte medium covering a collage. You can come back with a marker. I think it's going to work just fine. Okay, I did the traditions. This is fun. Now this is a different line. This is the Americana Multisurface Neon. The colors are very similar to the Americana Neon. I would imagine that these work better on slick surfaces. You could use them on glass or whatever. And these are more like your traditional acrylics. Some pretty cool colors though on there. The DecoArt So Soft line is huge, and it is for fabric use, but it can also be thinned with water, put into a water brush like this, and you can glaze. So what I did was just took a water brush and filled it with some of the So Soft colors. I didn't get them all because I don't think I'll really use them that much, but let's say that you had a collage and it was jarring in color. You might want to look at the one I just posted today on Pay the Fiddler. I selected papers that had an overall muted, warm tone, but had any of those papers that I wanted to use had a cool tone, and I wanted to warm everything up to look alike, to be more cohesive and look all warm. I could take green apple or yellow green, and I could put it in my water brush and go over all those papers, and it will make them look like they're from the same piece of paper. So that for a mixed media artist is great, and I think I will use that a lot. Let's see, what else do I have? I think that's it. Oh, I did get all their stencils. Now I've got a movie of that. Not all of them, but I got a lot of stencils. And yesterday I got a few more. I had to figure out a way to store all these. These are 12, are all the stencils that I got from them. The Andy Skinner stencils are great, and so are the Americana ones. This is DecoArt's Personally Yours. It's large initials. They're like 3 inches tall, 2.5, whatever, 2.5. And then there's a stencil that has some borders and corners and things like that. So different fonts. Here's one that's a little scripty. These would be great for monogram type things. This is like on an umbrella or a big initial on top of a box. So that's the use for these. And right now, because there are 7 stencils in a package, I'm probably not going to put a hook on these and hang them up. But I'm most interested in these corners and borders. So got that, and they have a new product. New, I think, for 2015 is absolutely fabulous. They've come out with a line of decoupage paper, or decoupage, whichever way you want to say it. Let me find one that I cut open. In this package are 3 sheets that go together. They're similar in color and design era. There are 3 sheets, one of each, 12 by 16s. These are so nice because it is a thin paper, like a real cheap gift wrapping paper. Should be really, really nice to work with in collage. And you can do a lot with a 12 by 16 sheet of paper. So this one is called Old World. We have Moroccan. You see the transparency on these? I think when I use these that white will maybe just disappear. I've got arrows, pink and green. Some of this looks like the 60s, which I love. Here they've shown it decoupaged on a box. We've got Gold Stag, which is one of my least favorite. However, this is a neat little pattern, and I will use the stags. I promise I will use the stag. Here we've got silver on white. The white part of the paper is a matte finish, and the other is metallic, of course. We have Tribal. This one is very pretty. It's called Victorian Romance. And everything's got kind of a bluish, grayish cast to it. We have another silver pattern called Metallic Type. And this one is Silver Trends, Paisley Punch, iCat. I'm not sure what iCat is. Doesn't tell me. Then we have the golds, like the silvers. This one's called Gold Stag, but I don't see a stag. And it's not gold. I must have put this in the wrong container. The other one, let's see, let's look. Just in case anybody wants to order this. Nope, Gold Stag. But it's different paper. That looks like a goof. Goofs happen in manufacturing, trust me. Ship to Shore I love. It's got a blueprint for sailboat and a rope and nautical themed paper. And another gold. This one's called Gold Trends. So folks, that's it for my DecoArt. I love it. I have already gone through an entire jar of DecoArt's medium, matte medium. Use it every day practically. I've got modeling paste, I've got varnishes, I've got their decoupage line, or decoupage. They've got one for paper and one for heavier materials. So I am set to go, and look for it because you're going to see a lot of DecoArt materials in all of my work. So I'm going to say over and out. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And magnificent products, I highly recommend them, not just because they sent them to me, because I would review them truthfully, whether I liked them or not. So there you have it. Bye.